Today we are talking about the Hatch, the most recent event Roblox has came up with. Off the bat, I'm gonna straight away say this lobby area was amazing. There were different biomes in this event, and every biome had their own theme to it. There's this dark biome here that you would enter by going down this whirlpool here, right beside spawn, and boom, you're in this completely different environment, and it just feels amazing to look at. If we actually swim all the way down here, there's a credits board right here. Twin Atlas, this is their team that developed this. They did a brilliant job, so I think they deserve some love there. Good job on them. They made an amazing map for this event. They put the most effort into this event for sure, and they did a brilliant job. So what are my thoughts on everything that happened with this event? There's a lot to talk about, there's a lot to go over. I think there was definitely loads of ups, loads of downs. It was all over the place. Overall though, I'm going to say, just so you don't have to watch through everything to get my overall opinion, I'm going to say I didn't hate this event. I didn't hate this event one bit. There was bits that I disliked, bits that I found frustrating, but with most events there is stuff like that. It has cool items in it because some of the items were very difficult to get. It was tedious to get some of the items. It was tedious to get progress in this event overall. But for those who were, dedicated to get the progress, then it was a pretty fun event because you were doing something. And this is the one thing that I like about dev hunts, is that it makes me play Roblox. I do not play Roblox as much as I did before, but whenever a dev hunt comes out, which is all Roblox is pumping out now for events, I get to play loads of games. That gives me an excuse to tell myself to play loads of these Roblox games. Whenever I look at the games page now, like the experiences page, it just doesn't appeal to me. This was a good way of getting me play loads of games. This is where we get to a downside of this event. Most of those games weren't really great though. Let's be honest, it wasn't that great in some areas. Some games did really well, but there was games that didn't give you a clear incentive, didn't give you a clear goal on where to go, and you were placed in some huge maps, or it wasn't even down to your fault, you were just told to wait to get an egg you could clearly see in front of your face. It was just all over the place. Some of these games didn't even deserve to be in the event because some of them were literally duplicates of each other. I'm telling you, later, I was playing one of these speed games. Every minute or every second you would get like an extra walk speed or something, and I kid you not, I saw that game twice in this event. Same with there was this glass bridge game, and that was also duplicated twice in the event. There was duplicates in this event. That is crazy. Like that is why I think this event was really badly moderated in some sense. I don't know. Anyway, there was good games, and then there was, those other games. I don't know what to say about that. So basically, the gist of things, you would go to one of these portals. So for instance, we're at the connection biome right now. You would teleport to the portal because whenever you join the game, you can fast travel to stuff. And you would go through this portal here, and it would do a little like white screen, and then it would have a spiral background and give you all the games here. And it tells you explore games to hunt for connection eggs, and you would do this for each biome. There is 10 eggs in each biome. You would go into games, do their specific thing to get their egg. Once you complete whatever it is you're supposed to do in that game, you would get the egg, and you would have an option to either go back to the hub or play another random game. So it made it a little bit quicker sometimes, but sometimes that never popped up, so you had to come all the way back to the hub. Yeah, it's what it was. So I did not every single game, because you didn't have to do every single game to complete the event. And actually that's really, really good, because if you did, I would absolutely despise this event, because some of these games were terrible. I didn't like them, and I didn't hate them, but I didn't like them. I didn't like the way that they implemented their stuff into this event. I'm not hovering over any specific one, by the way, but once you did that and you collected all 10 of these specific eggs, you would go to the certain area in the biome and do this cutscene thing. For the connection biome, it was this like nice little like jazz kind of music, which I kind of like. And then it would give you this egg here, and this like pop-up will happen, and a quest will be complete or something, I don't know. And then you will get this UI here, which you can easily equip. So once you click OK, it gives you the egg on your avatar, and boom, you now have that egg related to this biome that you could just complete it. Then you can also go to wherever the egg is pointing and click it a million times, and boom, you get a special item related to the biome. Well, not actually, you just get a special item from this area, but it is specifically that item in those biomes, but they're not related to the biomes whatsoever. So you just get a special extra item. It's pretty cool. If you didn't want to actually complete the whole event, you could go to the specific biome you knew the item was in and just do that biome, and then boom, you can leave. That's pretty cool. One downside to collecting the eggs though in these games is that unfortunately it wasn't a set code of what eggs you would get. What games didn't have certain eggs in them, you had to get lucky basically. When you complete a certain challenge, you could get a duplicate of an egg you recently got. They made some things that could combat, the getting duplicates. They made merging machines here, so as you can read this board here, it says combine duplicate eggs from this biome to unlock higher rarity eggs, which you could do so, which was pretty cool. But yet again, once you did that, it's still RNG on what eggs you get, and you could only really do them with commons. You can do them with rares, but most of the time you would get the mythic egg anyway. At least I did. I got the loads of the mythic eggs, as you can see here. Another thing that they added is trading. So you can go in here and trade duplicate eggs or, merged eggs that you don't need. So, it's pretty good that you can get rid of these, duplicate mythic eggs. But the thing is, the duplicate mythic eggs really weren't worth anything. And I feel like people started to catch on quite early about that because whenever you offered people mythic eggs, they could have thought they were really cool because they said mythic on them, but they were really actually less rare than the commons at a certain point in the event. Most people were fighting for commons than they were for mythics or even primals. I have seen people asking for mythic eggs and stuff like that, but that was the odd few. You most likely would get into a game, get a mythic egg, and then it would be annoying to get another one. You would had no purpose for them. There was challenges regarding the primal eggs and the common eggs, but there wasn't a single challenge, at least that I remember, that involved the mythic eggs. So they were useless, which is very, very disappointing. Now, talking about quests and stuff, there was quite a lot of them. There was also these things called super eggs. Now, upon completing a certain quest, which I think it was like merge certain things from. No, I remember. It was collect eggs in a biome for some of these things, and you would do that, and it would say coming soon, or like one, or something is coming one. I think that's what it was called. Up to 3 or 4. And once you collect certain eggs in the biomes for the super egg quest, you would collect 15 darkness biome eggs, 15 connection biome eggs, 15 light biome eggs, and when you did that, the quest would be complete. Whenever the super egg came available, you would be able to go to the specific area and collect it. Now that wasn't the first super egg actually. Now I remember that was actually, I think, the last one. I think the first super egg was in the fire, water, and earth biome. Second super egg was in the energy and time biome. Same thing, you collect like 15 eggs in these biomes, and then the third one was in the ice and air, and then the last one was in the darkness, connection, and light biome. No, that's a lie. The final one wasn't in the darkness, connection, and light biome because the final one was the hardest of them all. Let's just show all of these super eggs real quick. So this was the first super egg, the eccentric elemental's hat. You would get this for completing the first quest and getting the item when it dropped. The second one was the temporal flux core. Here you would complete the second quests, which was in the second biome areas that I talked about, and then collect the item when it dropped as well. The third one was the wing of the winter wind, which you would do the same for as well. But the fourth one, the prismatic egghead, which was the last super egg that dropped, you had to complete every single quest in the quests menu in general, which makes this item very, very, tedious to get. And I think that's what makes it a little bit more special. So that's why not only this item actually I think looks the coolest out of all the items in the event, it's more valuable because less players will, sit down for half of the week that the event's out and actually get these quests done. And the quests, they were somewhat tedious. They weren't easy to do. You had to collect so many eggs to merge so many eggs. You had to trade so many eggs. You also had to, invite friends as well. And if they didn't join, that would also be a problem, I'm pretty sure. I think the really cool thing about this item here is that it was a lot more difficult to get. Overall, I think not everyone's going to have this item. So if you did achieve this item, good on you. It was not easy to collect. It wasn't just as simple as find this egg on the floor, unfortunately. Upon collecting all of the eggs, you would actually be able to collect in the quest menu the collector's basket of glory. And here's what this looks like here. It holds all of the eggs from the event here, as you can see in the basket here, with a little gold finish, I think, which is pretty cool. It's pretty original as well. It's a nice little thing to have on top of your avatar to show that you did the base event, which is very, very nice. There was also drama upon the start of the event, talking about people who, people didn't want in the game, games and stuff that they didn't want to see in the event. And that is the main reason why loads of games dropped out at the start of this event. It's very unfortunate to see all those games drop out, but I completely understand why they did so. That's why we only ended up with like 30% of the games that entered. So you had to go through 10 games at a minimum, which would have ended up being 100, but it was RNG, so you most likely would have had to do 2 games per egg. I'm going to say, let's say you got the egg you needed 1 every 2 games. You would end up playing 200 games. That is over 50% of the games in this event. Unless you made do of the egg drops and the merging stuff, the merging events that they did, which they added in, because I think they realized how difficult this event would be with how minimal games they added, because so many people dropped out at the start of the actual event. If you didn't use these egg drops or merging events to your advantage, you would have found this event a lot more difficult and more frustrating. This event in itself is, frowned upon by a lot of the community. I've spoke to people and they've said it's the worst event in their opinion, and some people some people aren't even playing the event because they know it's not what they want to be playing. And I completely understand their viewpoint on this, because I'm only playing this event because I know I'm, not fully against dev hunts, but it's a little unfortunate we didn't get an egg hunt. Is what we were, kind of expecting from this event. It's not something I love, but I'm okay with dev hunts for the reason that I said earlier. It makes me play Roblox, and it gives me, that challenge that I find, you know, events need. It held that challenge. It was an easy event. It wasn't an easy event, which makes it feel better in the end. But to play it, it's not great. It's to play it, it's not great. You are playing in this beautiful hub. They put so much time and effort into this hub, but the games itself were all over the place. Some were golden, majority were, in the gutter. But, you know, for those who pushed through, good on you. For those who didn't want to play the event, completely fine. That's completely your decision, and I understand why you didn't end up playing the event. Either you just didn't have the time, it's a very short event for how much you had to do, or you just didn't want to play it because the insane drama behind it, and also, uh, it's just not a it's just not the event most people expected. It's not the event we've been asking for. But anyway, that is my overall thoughts of this event. I think, yet again, I think this freaking lobby is so cool. There's so many cool areas in it. There was also little quests you could do at one point. Uh, you had to do them obviously to get the final item. But yeah, even if they just, made us collect X around this map, I feel like people would have liked that more than what we got here. But my opinion, I didn't hate the event. I think it was okay. If this lobby was as terrible as most of the games, I wouldn't have played the event. The games itself were, you kind of had to pray you got an easy egg when you entered, because if you didn't, you would have been kind of screwed. So I hope whoever played the event had a good time in some of the games. I definitely had a fun time in some of them. That's something I look back at and think that was cool in the event. But there were some games I struggled in, some games I disliked. So I hope those who did eventually complete the event, had a, moderately alright time. But also the people who didn't do it, I hope Roblox actually creates the event we're all looking for. But anyway, thank you for watching the video and have a wonderful rest of your day.